Good morning, my friends. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre Lefevre, and I like to mouth off on things political, things cultural, things interesting. And today I'm going to bring you another installment of dissecting the news and looking beyond the headlines and the stories. With your help, I am going to read between the lines what corporate control media and the wild news, like myself, the free internet media, are writing about. So before I start, get to the meat of things, I want to thank Jimmy and I want to thank Abigail for their generous Patreon donations. Thank you very much. It's really appreciated. If you wish to donate, go to my website wildnews.us. When you pull it up, you will see the crowdfunding buttons. I have GoFundMe account and I have a Patreon account, and I appreciate any and all donations. Now, let's go to the meat of things. The most important story that I found this morning was on the Hill. Headline: Paul Ryan, Gowdy's statement contradicting Trump on spying claims is accurate. Now let me read the story. Speaker Paul Ryan, Republican, Wisconsin, on Wednesday pushed back against President Trump's Spygate claims, siding with Representative Trey Gowdy, Republican, South Carolina, in defense of the FBI's investigation into Trump's campaign in Russia. I'm not going to read any more of it, but the gist is that he's taking the side of the deep state. So Paul Ryan, no surprise, took anti-Trump position, just like Trey Gowdy did. What deep state has on Paul Ryan and Trey Gowdy, only Lord knows. But we know what side these gentlemen is on, and they're not on our side. The next story I have is in Washington Post, and this is a very interesting one. The headline: "Murder with impunity, where killings go unsolved." Subhead: the Post has mapped out more than 5,000 homicides in major U.S. cities over the past decade and found that the nation's urban areas contain pockets of impunity, places where killings routinely go unpunished. The analysis goes beyond what is known nationally about unsolved homicide, revealing block by block where police fail to make arrests. And they list some stats. Chicago, the homicides tracked this year, from what I understand, 5,535, 74% without an arrest. Los Angeles, homicides tracked this year, 2,257, 49% are without an arrest. New Orleans, homicides tracked 1,434, without an arrest 65%. Baltimore, 2,827 homicides tracked, 65% without an arrest. Miami, 744 homicides tracked, 60% without an arrest. Buffalo, 521 homicides tracked, 61% without an arrest. In Washington, D.C. is 1,345 homicides tracked, 44% without an arrest. What makes those things common for all of those cities? That they're run by a Democratic Party, basically a progressive Nazis. Since most of the homicides involved minority on minority crime, I don't think don't think democratic Nazis really care. I mean, their roots, their roots belong with the progressive era that spawned the communists and the Nazis and fascists. And Democratic Party may have tried to change the BR campaign, but they didn't change their roots. They still think that a small number of white elites should rule the world, at least United States. And they look down on middle class, white, black, brown, or indifferent, and especially they look down on people of color. And this is just the fact. If they didn't, they would have performed better. They would have protected their constituency, and they do not. All right. The next up on deck is Los Angeles Times. In California, where I live, we have jungle primaries, which happened yesterday, which means it's free for all. As many people as want to declare can run in an open primary. Anybody, regardless of party affiliation, can vote for anybody. And the top two vote gatherers will square off in the general in November. And originally, the Democrats created that system to freeze out the Republicans. Well, now in this year, they were afraid that they'll get frozen out. They really didn't, but the major race for the governor, Gavin Newsom, a flaming progressive Nazi, the former mayor of San Francisco, the absolute fascist who doesn't believe in democracy, is going to square away against John Cox. I don't know a lot about John Cox, but I suspect that he's a rhino from that little bit that I know. And he's kind of similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger from Bits and Pieces that I could put together. But at least we have a Republican in the race. Now, for the Senate, Feinstein is going to, Dianne Feinstein, the Democratic again, the progressive Nazi that Californians elected to the Senate, is going to run against another progressive Nazi, Kevin De Leon. So the jungle primaries worked in Democrats' favor. In the Senate race, you have two Democrats squaring off. Same thing happened in 2016, where Kamala Harris and Loretta Sanchez, two progressive Nazis, ran against each other again from the Democratic Party. Let's see. So, the next one, let's look at InfoWars. Very good source of information, and it's a counterbalance to the corporate controlled media. Let's see if they have anything interesting. They have a story about a hate hawks. Looks like a black teen concocted a story by and kidnapped. The channeling Tijuana Brody, if you remember that case from about 30 years ago. For some reason, corporate control media is preoccupied with Melania Trump, and Trump being accused of battering her, or the rumors fly that she's sick. I don't think any of it. Is true. I think it's just. I don't know. I think it's just the way for the corporate control media to dump on Trump. Here's an interesting story. White professor banned from dinner after complaining about too many whites. Let's take a look at this story. White professor banned from dinner after complaining about too many whites. Self-loathing race hater claimed the restaurant was overrun with white Caucasian assholes. A history professor from Rutgers University was banned from patronizing a diner in Harlem after he penned a scathing rant about the white children he encountered there. Professor James Livingston, who suffers from a bad case of white guilt, wrote, "Okay, officially, I now hate white people," in a Facebook post last Friday. The academician complained there were too many little Caucasian assholes when he visited Harlem Shake Diner last week. I just went to Harlem Shake on 124 in Lenox for a classic burger to go. That would my dinner and my place is overrun with little Caucasian assholes who know their parents will approve of anything they do. All right, here's your progressive Nazi who thinks that if the restaurant is in Harlem, only black people can go there, and white people should not be able to do. You know, the progressives are progressives, progressive Nazis. They try to pin that on us, the libertarians and conservatives, but every time you come across a story like that, you realize that who and what they are. They can't hate the fact that the Democratic Party and progressive movement is the home of racism and racial intolerance. All right, let's look at the media matters. And the reason I love to look at this Soros Talking Points website is because it gets me inside of the enemy's head. Let's see. They are obsessed with Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham, who are still going strong on Fox. Let's see what they're saying. Fox News reportedly having difficulty selling ads for Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham shows. The pro-Trump thing isn't working. Well, I'll tell you, without them, the Fox is going to resemble CNN, and it will be just as many viewers. Let's see, blogs on Media Matters. Michelle Obama and the bad faith of the right-wing media regarding Melania Trump. Let's see what that is all about. Michelle Obama, you know what? I think they just tried to open it and it just went back. Okay. It looks like they have, here we go. Right-wing media and President Donald Trump have united in attacking rhetoric regarding First Lady Melania Trump disappearing from public view for several weeks around the time of her reported kidney surgery. The outrage is disingenuous given the awful right-wing coverage of former First Lady Michelle Obama. Donald Trump tweeted, "The fake news media has been so unfair and vicious to my wife and our great First Lady Melania during her recovery from surgery. They reported everything from near death to facelift." Basically, he defended his wife. And, you know, the Democrats, the progressive fascists have no shame. Melania, unlike Michelle Obama, did not insert herself in politics. She just remained in the background as a loyal wife. And liberal press, the left wing, just can't stand that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Daily Caller. I like Daily Caller. Let's see what they have. Bernie Sanders speaks out against super delegate system that made Clinton's in 2016. Yeah. He should. The elections were stolen from him. The Trump administration is separating families at the border, and it's not because the Democrats passed a bad law. The real reason that illegal immigrants' families get separated is because under the Trump's direction, there is no catch and release. When when illegal families illegally cross the border, they get arrested, and you cannot hold children with adults in federal prison. Remember, crossing the border illegally is a felony. So the children have to be kept separate, just like any other criminal, any other felon. When he gets arrested, the children go to the child care services. So leftist outrage is disingenuous. If these people didn't commit a crime to begin with, that wouldn't happen. Let's see. Something that's real important. Nowhere in the media that I have seen that today is the anniversary of D-Day. It was a huge endeavor during World War II. This is what finally broke Hitler's back in 1944. Andrew McCabe seeks immunity for Senate testimony. Well, it looks like the rats are trying to leave the sinking ship, which is the Mueller investigation. Let's see here. Here's an interesting story. Actually, I haven't seen this one. Trump celebrates California primary win so much for Blue Wave. Let's take a look. President Donald Trump celebrated the results of California electoral primary, where Republican gubernatorial candidate John Cox advanced to the final round of election. I'm glad at least one that Republican actually made it to the general election in our jungle primary. But I don't think John Cox is much of a freedom-loving person. He's kind of a rhino, and again, I think he's in the mold of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So for one thing, I don't think he has a chance to win. I don't know if I'll even vote for him. Even though I usually vote Republicans, I'd really have to take a good look at him, and the son of a bitch really would have to earn my vote. I vote in every election, and more than likely I'll just write somebody else in. Now, I did vote, and I want to show you a couple of pictures that I've taken. For one thing, if you want to take a look, it's kind of funny. Vote a key here. Ladies and gents, we're not in Mexico, we're in California. In my view, if you don't speak English, you got no business voting. And also, if you remember those nifty stickers that you get after you vote, I voted. Well, my precinct did not have English-speaking stickers. Only had Spanish language stickers, but I got one anyway. I usually put it on my dashboard and then take it off about a week or two later. Thank you for tuning in. Visit my website, wildnews.us, wildnews.us. I have a GoFundMe account, and I have a Patreon account. So I would appreciate your support. I'd like to update my video and audio equipment and buy some professional studio equipment. And also I'd like to be able to travel to cover some of the stories. I'd like to be able to travel next time there is a school shooting or something of that sort. I'd like to be able to go to the place and actually interview the cops and the witnesses myself, rather than relying on something that I find on the internet. So I'd appreciate any and all donations. Thank you very much for tuning in, and God bless you, my friends. God bless you.